Let's take you now to Colombia, where a massive search and rescue operation is underway in the country after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake, the strongest to hit the country in a decade.
In just half a day, the death toll has risen to 111. It's the first major crisis for the new president, Abelardo de la Espriella, who has declared a national emergency. The epicenter was in the Choco region, among the worst hit, along with Risaralda, a coffee-growing area where nearly half the deaths occurred. The quake at 110 kilometers deep was felt across the country, reaching also Ecuador and Panama. Now, videos posted on social media captured the moment the quake hit, and we do warn you, you may find this distressing.
This happened in Pereira Airport, among 6 where flights have been suspended as Colombians nationwide recount their experience.
El temblor empezó el movimiento muy duro, parecía que no iba a acabar. Gracias a Dios nosotros estamos bien cuando paró, pero fue muy largo y muy duro. Todo se empezó a caer, todo se empezó a abrir, el edificio de nosotros empezó a caer agua. Cuando bajamos, el edificio de enseguida Vanessa, totalmente derrumbado.
In the third largest city of Cali, rescuers shouted into rubble to try to get a response from any survivors. Colombia's tallest cathedral saw one of its towers fall. The government says more than 60 buildings have collapsed and at least 1,600 homes are destroyed or damaged. A national emergency has been declared to expedite funds for recovery operations.
No los vamos a dejar solos, están en nuestro corazón y les vamos a tender la mano con toda decisión. El gobierno nacional mantiene desplegadas todas sus capacidades para proteger la vida, atender a las comunidades afectadas y llevar ayuda a cada territorio que se necesite.
Foreign offers of help are being extended to Colombia, the U.S. and the EU, among those reaching out. The U.S. announcing an emergency aid package worth $15.5 million. It will cover funding for emergency shelters, food protection, and earthquake assessments. The European Union says it's ready to provide more support after mobilizing its satellite service named Copernicus to help with rescue operations. Colombia's Latin American neighbors have also offered help in search and rescue and medical staff. They include Venezuela, which suffered twin earthquakes less than 2 months ago. The International Red Cross is working with its local partners to help Colombians. And joining us now from the capital, Bogota, is Edwin Armenta, Operations Manager at the IFRC Bogota. Edwin, thank you so much for joining us at short notice. What can you tell us about the situation on the ground, right now? I mean, do you have a sense of where help is, needed as a priority and which areas are bearing the brunt, keeping in mind that there is that so-called 72-hour window?
Hello, thank you for having me here. And yes, as you mentioned before, this is one of the worst earthquakes in decades here in Colombia. And so far has been affected more than 6 departments and more than 62 municipalities have declared some kind of affectation. As you mentioned, more than 120 people have been dead and around 197 people are injured. And right now, the Colombia Red Cross team are on the ground trying to reach people more affected in different areas. One of the most challenges of this situation is that there are main cities affected in different regions. For example, we have affectation in Chocó region, we have affectation in Valle del Cauca, in Pereira, and Risaralda, and other more. So for that reason, the Colombia Red Cross have been deployed several urban search and rescue teams on the ground to try to support the communities most affected. And as a federation, we are supporting the Colombia Red Cross to deploy personnel and to mobilize our capacities at regional and global level to support the response of the national society.
Yeah,
For example, as a federation, we launched
Please go ahead,
an emergency operation for. Thank you. We launched an initial emergency operation for 1 million Swiss francs to support the initial response of the Colombia Red Cross in different municipalities that have been affected.
All right, Edwin. And so beyond the search and rescue efforts, I wonder, what are the most urgent needs for survivors right now? What are people on the ground telling your teams that they need most?
Yes, right now we have information about needs in shelter because there are more than 1,000 households that have been affected. And so there are some people in this moment is night in Colombia. And right now we have people sleeping on the street because it's the first night after the earthquake. And also there are needs regarding wash and sanitation activities. For example, it's necessary to provide safe water to communities most affected. Also, we have challenges regarding connections. For example, we don't have internet connections in some of the communities, and the Red Cross teams try to support communities to maintain contact with relatives in Colombia and abroad. Because in this moment, in most of the municipalities affected, there is not internet. So far are more or less some of the affectation. Of course, Colombia Red Cross team are supporting first aid activities on the ground, and also they are deploying teams to provide psychosocial support.
Okay, so Edwin, I mean, I hear you. So it's a question of water, medical supplies, communication is a problem as well. The other thing that I've been reading about, reports say that this earthquake was felt across many areas, extending hundreds of miles across Western Colombia. So my question now is, do you have enough people, enough search and rescue teams to reach, such an extensive and broad area?
So far, the Colombian government and the Colombian Red Cross team have been deploying several teams from different regions from around Colombia. So basically, all of the national capacity of the national government and of the national society have been deployed in this moment to support the national response. Of course, we need more information to analyze if we need additional support. Probably we're going to need additional support, but so far the information is very limited because in some municipalities the internet connection is very difficult. So for that reason, initially the government have mobilized all of the national capacity, and probably in the next hours we will going to have more information, or the government is going to share additional information to consider international support or something like that. Okay. So far the international support is the idea is support the current response with some resources, because with some budget, for example, to support some operations that are ongoing, because right now, one of the challenges is provide not food items, for example, for municipalities more affected, because some of the roads have been affected also, and some of the airports are not operating in this moment. Probably in the coming hours, this is going to improve. But right now, the Colombian government and the Colombia Red Cross, with our support, is focusing on search and rescue activities.
Okay, a very early days, Edwin, but once the immediate search and rescue phase ends, what sort of humanitarian problems do you expect to become more acute and serious over the coming days?
Yes, probably in the coming days we have to face some needs regarding shelter, for example, some location to support families to live, for example, in some temporary shelters or even with relative. Probably or even use other kind of services that are in other cities. For example, probably some people have to move to other cities to find some kind of shelter solution. Probably we're going to have more needs regarding health. For example, first aid, medical attention, because usually in this kind of situation, the medical attention and the medical services have been also affected. And also all of services regarding hygiene promotion, for example, safe water, also information, for example, regarding about relative, because right now there are a lot of people searching for relatives that are on the ground under these houses that have been affected, and or also there are in other places and they know because the situation was very hard during and after the earthquake.
All right, Mr. Armenta, our thoughts and prayers, with the people of Colombia and for your teams as well. Thank you very much for the update. Edwin Armenta is Operations Manager from the IFRC in Bogota.